Ta-da! Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and berries. It's Magic Brad here, another episode of the Magic Brad Show here at an undisclosed location of the western suburbs of Minneapolis at the Magic Lounge. I'm not telling you where it is. I should have did, one second. See my little, I should have did my little intro. Bo likes this little intro. All right, come in a little private club. Knock, knock, knock. Okay, let's start. Just having some fun. It's Freaky Friday. I've got a friend of mine that's down from the southwestern part of the United States, and he's got a book out, and we're going to talk a little bit about his book. And the fun part about it is he doesn't know what I'm going to ask, and I'm not really sure what his book is about. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, my friend, Paul DeBlassie III. Hi.
Hey, Brad. Good to see you. We've done it before, so we'll do it again, and neither of us knows what's going to happen. So
no, we don't. But I'm using different technology, and this is actually live, where before it was recorded and then put up to YouTube and propagated. Right now, we're going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Okay, so, I'm totally frightened, but let's do this.
Don't be afraid. I tell people this is really no different than having a cup of coffee with a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I used to call it Synergy Cafe. I rebranded to the Magic Brad Show now.
Okay, all right. It's always been magic. It's always been magic.
It is magical. That's what I like about where you live. That area, I had a friend that lived down there for a while. I used to go visit in Santa Fe. Very groovy place. Very cool.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a sparkling spring day today. I tell you, there's all sorts of fairies dancing through the atmosphere.
Well, I like to get right to it, too, and not take up too much bandwidth of people's time and stuff. We just go for a little bit of time. But you got a new book, and I was intrigued by the title. It's Everything.
Goddess of Everything.
Goddess of Everything. Is that a play on the like the Internet of Everything?
Well, I tell you, it's tapped off. And it's channeled down from the Internet of Everything. I'll tell you what that means. Actually, in the realm of depth psychology, I'm a depth psychologist, so I treat the unconscious mind. Okay, and we talk about psychological energies, and everything that we have in this outer world. Okay, and this is a magic cafe. We can talk about this kind of stuff, the Magic Lounge with Magic Brad, and everything that we have, that we create, that we enjoy in life, that causes us trouble, comes from what William James, the father of American depth psychology, called the unseen world. Okay, it governs everything. It could be your attitudes, that shapes the way you live your life, right?
Yeah.
Very simply. But also on a deeper level, on a mythological level, there are what the Greeks spoke of as the gods and goddesses. One of them is Technos. And for us in contemporary society, he governs technology, the internet. And in that magical realm of gods and goddesses is the realm of the dreams. And that's a realm of very powerful psychological energies. And one of those energies is the energy of storytelling. And within storytelling, there are various ways of telling a story. And I go for a special theme. And this theme in the Goddess of Everything, and look at that not only the title, but the woman on the front.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a very specific reason for this, because this is about mother love gone bad and a son's struggle to break free. And this takes place in northern New Mexico. And there's all of this mystical, magical, supernatural intrigue around a common human theme of love and how it can be good love or bad love. And it can become too much love, where it becomes smothering. And in this case, we have a smother mother. And it's very frightening. It's very frightening for this young man. He's in his
like overprotective?
Oh, boy, to say the least. And she's a powerful, powerful woman. She is the head of a religious order in northern New Mexico, because she's been widowed and she bonded her son to her. and he's bonded, but he's also in love with his wife, but he's torn between two loves, and his mother calls to him for more and more of his energy because he's a director of a psychiatric clinic. And he takes care of the orphans that Mother Juana de la Cruz's orphanage houses. And
It sounded like this book is kind of like one of those fiction ones that aren't really fiction ones, kind of like the Celestine Prophecy. Remember that?
yes,
I
exactly.
read that book, and at first I read it because I wanted to get connected with my spirituality, and then I started reading, and it was a fiction book. And I thought, I want real stuff. And then I read more, and I go, wait a minute, this is real stuff. I get this now.
Yes,
Is it
it
that
is
kind
real
of?
stuff.
That's what it sounded like.
It is. It comes out of the whole metaphysical fiction dimension. You have that with Carlos Castaneda, and all of his series. This is sort of fiction, nonfiction. It's psychological realities, but it's something that really is taking place. So we have this too in everyday life, where mother love goes bad. It's smother love. A person cannot breathe. And there's all sorts of smother love, where one person gets too much and you can't breathe. And what do? Because part of you really loves that person, but yet you can't grow, you can't find your way through, and it could kill you if you stay with it and don't find a way through it.
Oh, look at here. We got one of our friends, my friend Frank Togas. He says, everybody wants to relax to psychology. I believe philosophy, which predates psychology, is far better reference.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a psychologist. So very cool. We got some interaction. I love engagement when you get people are actually listening to what you're having to say.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And what was his name?
Frank Togas.
Frank, yeah. And of course, Frank's right. All philosophy predated psychology. All good psychology. All good psychology. That is, we have enormous amounts of empirical, scientific research going in to prove very common sense philosophy.
It's interesting this stuff comes up because it always comes up at the time when I need it, when these things happen, because I just hired a Tony Robbins coach, and she was always reflecting back because I'm coming up with my excuses, which are stories. And that's kind of what the subconscious mind is, comes up with this BS to protect you and to overly, as you said, smother you.
Yes, right.
It's trying to overprotect you. And I made a new word. I call it ignories. So ignore the stories, ignories.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Those stories that really hold you back, huh?
Well, yeah, and you don't know it. That's why I think that stuff like this, when you read a book like this, all of a sudden things will happen, not because you're not logically reading it. You're emotionally involved, and different ideas will come into your head.
Right. That's why I've written inspirational psychology. And I really like what the listener commented, because the father of American depth psychology was the founder of pragmatism, which is a fundamental American philosophy, and who is William James, father of American psychology, and something fundamental in us is that an emotional chord needs to be struck, and I found that happening very readily in storytelling. In a manner that's quite different from reading nonfiction, even inspirational material, because when you can get into the story, it strikes a feeling tone, and you really identify with the characters. Men who read this can feel it when they've been trapped in relationships that it's too much, they can't breathe, or women who are in relationships and they find that the person they love so much is trapped in a love that's competing with their love. And how do they help this person, or can they help this person? Right. And so the story helps us to get into that visceral emotional reality.
Here's the graphic once again. This is my friend right there. Oh, it's not coming up. Well, that's weird. I don't know what happened there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let's just continue. I'll get this fixed later. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what it was here it is. Okay. What I was doing is just pulling the graphic up that I had created for the actual show here. So I wanted to kind of pop that up. There it is. This is my friend Paul DeBlassie III, and the book is called Goddess of Everything. That's what I wanted to pop up there. There we go. So people, if they tuned in late, they know what we're talking about. This book. Let's get a little more into it. So this is it's really interesting to me because my mother was an alcoholic. So as a kid, you grow up with an alcoholic mother. They're trying to protect you when you stay out late, except for they don't do it in a loving manner. They do it in a, where the hell you been? It's 10 o'clock and you've been out. And you get that kind of rage coming. So that's sort of, smotherhood, if you will. But that kind of stuff is what goes into my adult brain in the subconscious from the childhood. And I suppose it could, if you believe in the past life stuff, this stuff can be coming from, centuries ago when you were locked up in the bottom of a castle or something.
Maybe.
Sure.
And yeah, it comes, it can be, I don't know. I think we got our hands just full with one life, and we may have lived before. Who knows? Our empirical minds are very limited. We really know very little, and it could be, one thought that comes out of all the great mystic traditions that all of my books in one way or another tap into, ancient mystic traditions, philosophical traditions, as well as contemporary depth psychology, is that we find ourselves caught in themes that are eternal. People have lived these stories out a lot. And what happens in a new story like Goddess of Everything is it's told with a little different spark to it, a little different something that appeals to contemporary readers. And that's where the unconscious is touched, hopefully, and people resonate with it. And sometimes they find that it really makes a difference in the way they live their lives and look at relationships and can feel love and the ability to be loved in a different way.
Wow. So when did you start writing this book?
This book, every book takes me about 2 to 3 years. I make a joke that I'm sort of, I always remember Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He says, it takes me about 2 years, he said, to write 200 words that I can live with. And I've written them and rewritten them and edited them and re-edited them. He said, then I pass those 200 words to my professional editor and they deal with it. Then it's finally published. It took me 2 years to write 200 pages and smoke 20,000 cigarettes. And the royalties I make don't even cover the cost of the cigarettes. So it takes me 2 to 3 years, but I don't smoke, so I don't have to worry about the cost of the cigarettes.
There you go. See, you can't smoke because you can't afford it. Got to get the damn book out. Well, I'm not a writer at all. I don't like to read. I don't like to write. I'm more of a video kind of visual kind of person. But my wife's in the process of writing a book. And then I was just this last week, Tuesday, I went to a networking event, which was live, in person, real people. It was amazing. And this guy had a book release, and he was writing this one book. It was called The Magic of Networking. And then when the pandemic hit, he put it to the side and he created a new one about networking in the new normal. So I wonder if you run into that kind of stuff, because the stuff that you're writing about is kind of like concrete and doesn't change. It isn't really a thing that changes with a circumstance like a pandemic.
Right. Yeah. And I can do blogs. I do my blogs and they come out, I write 500-600 words and I can do that and be satisfied with what I've written and edited a whole bunch in about an hour's time. But it takes me too long to write a book, and I can't turn it out that quickly. And it takes a lot of thought, and my dreams play into it. My dreams tap into the images and the scenes, and contemporary events sometimes do spark it, like with the Unholy, my first visionary fiction piece, metaphysical thriller, and that tapped in directly into the the church scandals that have happened. And we've seen it horribly throughout New Mexico. And the Unholy directly taps in to the frightening, really frightening scenarios that have played out in people's lives. And can there ever be a sense of healing and wholeness? And if so, what is the struggle like to come to terms with that? And that's actually an undercurrent in Goddess of Everything as well.
I can see something like that where you're trying to heal over some wounds, and as the person leaves, they slash a few more. Because it takes time to heal stuff. It's really hard to let things go, if you will.
Right. To let things go and know that they're always there. You let them go, but they're always really
Exactly. That's
there.
what I mean.
You know, Freud was wise, and he says, you know, real healing comes because my way of paraphrasing Freud is that we learn to live with it. Okay. It doesn't
I thought
have
you were going
to
to say
stay.
because a person has Alzheimer's and they can't remember it.
Well, sometimes that happens. Yeah. You know, and sometimes people just shove it way back there, but it, you know, those skeletons start rattling.
Yeah.
And they demand attention. So we learn to lessen the rattling, or sometimes it goes away. You know, in therapy, we can help it to go away. And in reading stories, that can be tremendously cathartic, and it can be healing in its own therapeutic way.
Yeah, I don't know if you're connected on Facebook with my wife, Monica, but she's a shaman and she's really into dream work. She does, like, I wouldn't call it dream analysis or anything, but she uses dream work.
Sure.
You know, the awake dreamer and the sleeping dreamer, and
Sure.
really into the dream stuff, very much so.
Sure. Yeah. Each of my novels taps directly into dreams and working with dreams. There's a healer in each of my novels. I'm working on a new novel. Can I mention it real quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm entering into what will be a series called Seer. And it's the case of the man who lost his soul. And it comes out of an old tradition. Freud and the case of Anna O case, and Freud and the case of the Wolfman. And before, around that same time period, there was Algernon Blackwood, who wrote the Dr. John Silence stories, who was what he called a psychical detective or a psychical doctor. He was a doctor who treated people with illnesses of soul. So here, in Seer, my upcoming novel, it won't be out for 2 years, but Dr. Ernesto de la Tierra, a transpersonal psychologist in Santa Fe, treats cases that come his way from all over the world. And in this case, it's the case of the man who lost his soul. And it begins with the dream that he has, that a new patient will be coming his way. He sees the outline of the man, hears his voice in the dream, and he hears a dream voice, which is common. Well, can be, is relatively common. Once you tap into your dreams, you can hear a voice, and it's often guiding you in very practical, helpful ways. And it tells him to be sure and make room in his caseload. And the entire story will be populated by dreams, as each of my metaphysical thrillers are.
Wow. I'm going to throw your website up here, but you might have something that's more relevant. I want people to call attention to the ... there at the end.
Actually, Brad, that's my therapy website.
Oh.
My writer's website is just pauldeblassie3rd.com. Okay, there's no doctor in front of it. So my writer's website is pauldeblassie3rd.com. No doctor in front. The other one that you flashed up is my therapy website.
Got it. Well, I can quick fix that just like this.
Right? There you go. Yeah, that's my writer's website. Yep.
It's not quite fixed. It looks like I've got a double D in there.
And
people.
And yeah, and all the books are available. All my blogs are available. I have regular monthly blogs, all on psychology, the imagination, and fiction, storytelling, and how it can change your life. And
I'm assuming that they can probably just go onto the good old Amazon. I'm assuming it's there.
Absolutely. It's all on Amazon.
Throw the title up there: Goddess of Everything, Paul DeBlassie III. Very cool. Well, we go on for about 20 minutes. Is there anything you want to add? Closing remarks? Do you ever do any events or book signings? Or I'm an event guy, so like, you do any retreats or anything like that? Workshops?
You know, I don't. I am. I really my own dreams. Okay, have really guided me to stay virtual, and I love virtual reality. Once in a while, a brick and mortar event will come my way, and I'll consider it depending on what the nature of it is. But basically, I like to do virtual because I reach a wider audience. I can do it right here in my study. And during COVID, I've been doing therapy in my study, and I do all my writing, and I like to do all my book PR as well.
I recently interviewed a guy over in from Australia, and he said he doesn't call it virtual because it's not a virtual event. It's a real event. He calls it a digital event.
Yeah.
Change of language kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Very cool, Paul. I'm going to start propagating this out on the internet. I appreciate you taking the time. If you want, I will throw you in the green room. We can have a chat after.
Absolutely.
Or if you need to run, that'll be good too. So I'm going to sign this one off. Thank you very much. Let's hear it for Paul. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, there you go. That was fun having him on. I haven't talked to him for a while, but we've been connected on the internet. And, I lost my Facebook account, but I got a new one, and now we're connected again. That's just the way this stuff works. So, peace, love, and happiness. This is Magic Brad signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, there's a comment here. I want to see what it is. Oh, it's Frank saying goodbye. Bye, Frank. And then Mike Wilkie. Interesting topic. It is psychology. It lends itself to the magical thing. Okay, see you later.